What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another video. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out, do all the good stuff. We're trying to inch closer to 2,000, but first to 1,900, so please hit the subscribe button. We also have a Patreon, which we recommend you subscribing to for $2.99 a month. We also have the members package, but Patreon, we do a little bit more scouting reports, articles, stuff like that. With that being said, in this video, we're going to talk about the new report. Well, it's not really that new, but it's a fairly recent report that the New York Giants will not tag Saquon Barkley, or at least they're unlikely to tag Saquon Barkley. And I think you could pretty much turn that into a not, right? From all the stuff that has happened the past year, I'm going to go over the timeline, and then I'm going to go into whether he should be signed, in my opinion, and also, do I think he'll be back as a New York Giant? So, this all starts probably around the bye week after, actually, this is before the Texans game, after the Seahawks game in 2022. The Giants offer him, I think it was 12.5 at the time, 3-year contract or something like that, and he decided not to take the offer on the table. To me, at the time, it was a fair offer, but nonetheless, we do have other guys who got paid. Jonathan Taylor got a $14 million a year contract, when the highest paid running back is, I think, $16-17 million. It's Christian McCaffrey, but nonetheless. So, contract, bye week, all that stuff. The Giants put the offer on the table. Then they took it back once he declined it. Then you have the franchise tag, which was used on the day of the extension of Daniel Jones, which that was the last day, or they were inching hours to the deadline and said, okay, we're going to sign Daniel Jones to a long-term contract, and we're going to go ahead and franchise tag Saquon Barkley. And within those next few months, right, the Giants also drafted a running back in Eric Gray. But in my personal opinion, from watching him in the Senior Bowl game and all these other different things, I never thought he was like serious competition to rush Saquon Barkley out of the building. He is a bruiser running back, straight line speed, but not side to side. We'll see what the Giants do with him this year. So, going on that route, really heading into June, July, there's more talks about him holding out for a contract long-term, and that he didn't want to play on the franchise tag. And there was all sorts of controversy of the Money Matters podcast, how he was talking about holding out, the leverage situation, all that stuff. And that created a whole bunch of controversy within that time frame. And everyone's like, oh, the Giants are bad, or Saquon Barkley is bad. Everyone was divided. Then we get to July 26th, which is the first day of training camp, and the Giants and Joe Shane, they decided to meet with Barkley, give him a 1-year contract worth around, I think it was $11 million, and $2 more million in incentives. And then Barkley had an injury this year, missed about 3 games due to an ankle injury, which he's had before, had a total of 962 yards, 6 touchdowns, 247 attempts. Longest run was his 36-yard run, and then yards per average 3.9, which is the second lowest of his career. Next to 2021, I'm not going to count 2020 because that's when he tore his ACL. And now we come up to the report to where Paul Schwartz says, okay, it's not expected for Saquon Barkley to be franchise tagged. So we're at this situation right now. Now, there hasn't been reports of talks between the two sides. Also, you do have another candidate that could be franchise tagged, could be Xavier McKinney, which I think the franchise tag on that is like $16 million. I could be wrong, though. So you look at the market of running backs, and you also look at the free agency. What running backs are in the market. So you look at the running back market in terms of like pay. McCaffrey's at 16, Kamara's at 15, Taylor is at 14, recently paid. Then you get down to Nick Chubb, $12 million. Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, $11 million. Tony Pollard, $10 million. Again, this is, of course, from 2023, so we're not counting free agents right now. Tony Pollard, $10 million. Saquon, $10 million. Aaron Jones, $11 million, if I didn't mention that already. James Conner, $7 million. Miles Sanders, $6 million. Austin Eckler, $6 million. Dave Montgomery, $6 million. $5 million for Joe Mixon. And then it pretty much goes down to like veteran minimum contracts and also rookies, too. So you look at the market of running backs, and it's a pretty widespread market compared to years past. Derrick Henry is one of the top guys. Josh Jacobs, one of the top guys. Tony Pollard, one of the top guys, though he might not be an every down back. You have Saquon Barkley, of course, Austin Eckler, Cordarrelle Patterson. You have Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, Devin Singletary. I just want to make sure that this is the available list, and it is. Devin Singletary, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Deonta Foreman, not Devonta Freeman, but Deonta Foreman, DeAndre Swift, notable, and then pretty much down from there, it's not much of a list. J.K. Dobbins, if you want to throw him in, Kareem Hunt, but the rest are like veteran minimum guys, and if you need a bruiser, A.J. Dillon is also there, but nonetheless, that is what the free agent market looks like in terms of running backs. Now, if you ask me personally, do I think that Saquon Barkley will be re-signed by the New York Giants? My answer is no. And I think it would be for the better, right? I feel like there's just been this stigma over the last few years, really the last few months of just the negativity between the two sides. And I know some of it is fan fiction or just fan created, but I don't feel, especially with a rookie quarterback coming in, it's good to put an investment into a position that, the market really doesn't value anymore, right? I think a lot of the pay is going to go towards backup quarterbacks this year, not saying that they're going to overtake the running back market, because you won't see a backup quarterback get paid $14 million a year. And yes, Jonathan Taylor got paid, so it helped out running backs a little bit. But again, year to year, you see these guys that are drafted in the late rounds or the second round, the third round, your Devin Ashanes, your Raheem Mosterts of the world. There's a couple of running backs in this draft that are worth taking. Bucky Irving from Oregon is a name to throw out there. Trey Benson. You also have Daijun Edwards, who's my personal favorite from Georgia, and a couple other guys you throw in there. So the running back position, I'm not saying Barkley's talent, but the running back position is replaceable if you have the right pieces. You don't build around a running back. I think the Giants learned that so many years ago with the Dave Gettleman regime. And this really has nothing in terms of connecting to Daniel Jones. Though it might a little bit, I really don't think it does, at least the way I'm thinking about it in a tunnel vision, because, hey, we're looking as if the whole situation comes out being that the Giants draft the rookie quarterback. That's how I'm looking at things. And I don't think a particular investment in a running back, unless you're drafting one, is worthy of anything. Now, I'm not saying that Eric Gray should be the number one back. I'm not saying Matt Breida should be back as a New York Giant. Personally, I don't really care for him. I think the Giants should take a speedster at running back. Daijun Edwards, I happen to like, again, from Georgia. But again, there's also options in the market. My thing is, the Giants have limited cap space. They could, of course, cut Mark Lewinsky. They could cut Boogie Basham and get up to maybe $30, $40 million. I would use that on an edge or a position of need. Maybe re-sign McKinney. And maybe go out there and sign an Onwenu or Jermaine Illuminor or any position of need, and then come back and say, okay, $10, $15 million, that's the draft class capital right there. Obviously, besides the draft picks. Now, do I think he will be re-signed? As I said, no. I think the reason being is that there's a couple of interesting fits more than the New York Giants. I feel like the New York Giants have already pretty much said goodbye to him, despite him coming to the, the Stadium Series. But I think that was more marketing than anything, just to say, hey, the football players are here, and kind of get it out. Because, hey, listen, the Stadium Series, that was over 80,000 people. When was the last time they showed up to a Giants or Jets game, with that much of a population? But nonetheless, the Texans, me and a guy were talking about it today. The Texans, they got a lot of cap space. Devin Singletary is not going to be their running back next year. And you got C.J. Stroud. This is a team that made it to the playoffs, a heck of a coach in DeMeco Ryans, a heck of an offensive coordinator in Bobby Slowick, and of course, C.J. Stroud. So you got a young nucleus there, and I think they're ready to win if they just mince up a couple of different areas. And Saquon Barkley, teams will overpay for him. It happens all free agency, every free agency, really. They overplay, certain teams overpay for certain players. I think it was last year the Bears overpaid for Tremaine Edmonds, right? I think it was in the $18 million range, if I'm not mistaken. I'm I don't know that it would go that far for Tremaine Edmonds, excuse me. But Bobby Okereke, he played better than Edmonds this season. Arguably should have been a Pro Bowler. So sometimes it's not about the money in terms of spending. It's just where you spend it. And again, I feel like the Texans, a lot of money, they could overpay. The Commanders, they might be a threat because, hey, they have the best in terms of, capital and cap space. I don't know about draft capital, but cap space, they have the most in the NFL. If you pair that alongside Sam Howell or a rookie quarterback, do whatever in that situation. Again, I just feel like the Giants are not that situation to have Barkley come back unless we weren't meant to win another year. The Bears could be another option to, bring him in. The Pats also as well. They need some dynamic playmakers, though. Ramondre Stevenson was okay last year. The Cardinals are an option. They have some of the top cap space. I think James Conner's a free agent. If he's not, my bad on that one. But with that being said, I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be re-signed. I don't think he should be re-signed. But if the Giants allocate their resources properly and re-sign him, hey, listen, I'm not going to be mad at that because it's an extra weapon for the rookie quarterback. I just don't think it makes financial sense. But like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate coming back. Tell me in the comment section, do you think Barkley will be back? Do you think Barkley will not be back? What team fits him? Let me know in the comments, guys. Talk to you soon.